Hi guys, and welcome to this ranking video. Yeah, after recently seeing the latest entry, Bloodlines in the cinema, I thought this was an appropriate time to go back and do a ranking of this franchise. And I think that's what's interesting about ranking these Final Destination films is it seems like, apart from one entry. It is like I've spoken to at least one person who kind of like has at least one of the other five entries as their favorite. It seems to be one of those franchises where everybody has a different opinion, has their own kind of favorites. So yeah, no matter where you kind of put this, it's going to be quite different from somebody else's list. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I actually didn't actually know until fairly recently that this franchise was originally pitched as an X-Files episode as well, and then they just ended up on the cutting room floor and ended up as a feature film. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. But yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the ranking. Let's just get the formalities out of the way straight away, because coming in last place easily by a landslide is Final Destination 4 over Final Destination. I think this is the one thing that pretty much at least a large majority of the fan base can agree on, that the Final Destination is the worst one. This is just because it seems to exist purely because of it seems to exist purely just to see people die in 3D. So it just feels like, and that's just it. And when you're watching it at home, it just looks awful. It just looks like the worst. I mean, the worst CGI you kind of seen. It is so jarring and so distracting, and they've literally just kind of thrown it into to every opportunity that they have. I mean, they did their Final Destination 5 in 3D as well, but it was just nowhere near but just used a lot more sparingly in that movie than this. Here they just use it every chance they get, and it just makes it such a jarring experience. And that aside, the characters aren't engaging. Even the deaths aren't even that inspiring here. You know, there's one or two like the ones, but again, just even when they pull off and they kill, it's just kind of um undone and just really kind of like spoiled by the 3D effects that they're going on here. So yeah, easily in that space. And this is this is the only one I would say that I dislike on this list as well. All the other entries I enjoyed to at least one degree or another. So yeah, there's going to be quite a significant jump from this one to the next five on the list. But yeah, and this is actually where it gets a bit more controversial, isn't it? Because, like I said, everyone has a different opinion, it seems, on this one. But coming in the fifth place, I'm gonna go for Final Destination 2. This is seen as like one of the more iconic ones. Certainly the opening is one of the most iconic ones, and I would totally agree with that. I think the opening to this movie on the on the motorway with a log truck in front. I think that this is the best opening of all the Final Destination films. I think that this is, if we are ranking just the openings alone, Final Destination 2 wins. I mean, yeah, this is just a banger of an opening. I just love everything about it, and and yeah, I mean, I like the fact that it carries forward, and we get a little bit of an explanation about what happened to the surviving characters, that they have a little bit of connection to the first one. Um, and but yeah, I mean, but after that bang of an opening, there isn't a lot that I kind of seem to ever sticks in my mind with this one. Interestingly, I always seem to think it when I think of it, this one, oddly enough, I always think of Sean William Scott death by the railway, and it's so like weird because that doesn't even happen in this movie. That always happens in the first one, as you guys will know. But it always kind of seems to stick in my mind for some reason. I always associate that with this one. I don't. I have no idea. I have no idea how my brain works on that. But yeah. But yeah, there isn't really anything that I could I like I said, after that bang of an opening, I just feel like it doesn't kind of build on that momentum. And Yeah, so yeah, that's why it's coming in fifth place. And all the other films now on this list are movies I really enjoy. They're movies that could go up or down at any time, given what day of the week it is. So yeah, I feel like this is maybe something that I kind of like gotta revisit at some point, or update. But yeah, I've got to go and as of now, I am going for fourth place. The original Final Destination film. This movie deserves credit for obviously being the ones that lay down the groundwork. It seems to take itself a little bit more seriously, I think, than maybe the other sequels. There's some also like really neat deaths. One, like I said, the Sean William Scott death is the one that kind of like sticks in my mind the most, although I always associate with the second one for some strange reason. A lot of people think of about the death of a teacher in this one. I said I think that this movie has one of the most likable group of characters about as well. And Yeah, the plane explosion, the plane premonition, is a really neat sequence. I think it's just really well acted. I think that it's interesting as well that the guy who survives right to the end. I forget his name now, but the guy who kind of gets crushed by the sign at the end of this film, albeit off screen. It's only kind of like confirmed in the second one. But yeah, I forget the guy's name now. But I find it interesting that he kind of like survived right to the end, because he is so clearly the douchebag in this, where every kind of like horror film of this type like seems to have one, right? Where basically you just there being the douchebag kind of like right the way through, and it seems to be like they just are there just for the sake of for the audience to get a pop when they finally do die. So the fact that got him like right to the end of this film and then just had his death like off screen, I think it just makes this kind of like quite noteworthy. It just seems to stick out for me. So yeah, I think it's just one of the things that just holds it back for me is just maybe how theatrical some of the stuff is. Although it doesn't bother me as much as it did back in the day, and it seems to be there's just a few too many scenes where basically a character is just basically screaming at the rest that they're gonna die, although they're standing right in the most choreographed place to die. So yeah, but again, I still get a laugh out of this one, and yeah, it like I said, all these top four films are ones I enjoy immensely. So it's just one of those where I've got to put them somewhere, and it's just on this day. I don't enjoy it quite as much as I do the other three on this list. So yeah, with that being said, number three we have our Final Destination 3, and I just really enjoy this. I really enjoy the roller coaster premonition. I really enjoy the funfair setting, the fireworks. I really enjoyed just that kind of like the whole kind of like, it feels like almost high school of all the Final destination films, and I just really enjoy that. I think it's got some really neat memorable deaths. The Tannenbed, in particular, I really enjoy. Again, I think it's just quite a nice group of characters as well. And yeah, this is just a movie that I just find really fun. Over here in the UK on the Region Two release, DVD release has this really neat feature as well of a pick your fate, where you can just kind of change your fate of the characters as this movie is playing, and it just was just a really neat feature, a neat feature as well. Obviously, it doesn't really play into kind of like a film, but it's just a really neat feature, I think, on the DVD that kind of like makes me get a bit more fun out of it. So yeah, and number 3 is Final Destination 3, and so now coming in at number 2, we have Final Destination 5. And I really enjoy this one. I think it does so much right. Anyone who's seen my review of Bloodlines know that when I was originally when these movies originally came out, I was a bit frustrated by each entry, because I really liked the concept, but it never quite landed for me. Neither it never quite got the Final Destination film that I wanted. Although the first and the third one, I obviously I enjoyed. Yeah, it never quite got there for me, and that was basically until we got to this movie, and I just thought it was so perfect at the last one, over the last roll of the dice, as was at the time, with the last roll of the dice, they finally got it. They finally I finally saw what I wanted in a Final Destination film. Again, this has a really banger opening with a bridge collapse. I think this is again another group of more likable characters in the franchise. It has some really neat deaths. I think it just has a balance of the deaths just being fun, but not the most elaborate. I mean, we've seen more elaborate deaths in the franchise, which has always kind of tainted it a little bit for me. But here, I thought they got the balance just right. And one of the things that elevates this movie by quite a significant way is a neat twist at the end. I think the neat twist at the end, where it just ends up on the flight from the first film and just kind of brings it full circle and reveals itself as a prequel, I just thought was such a neat twist. And it wasn't a twist that was just there just for the sake of being a twist. It did a really good job of just bringing the franchise full circle. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's just a lot better and a lot cleverer than usually a fifth entry of a franchise has any right to be. So yeah, and so with that being said, as you probably figured out, my number 1 pick is at the minute is our Final Destination Bloodlines. And yes, I know there may be some recency bias in it. I'm not too sure. It'll be interesting to see how this how whether this kind of slides down the list over time, because it's interesting, because when I was in the cinema watching it, although you had these big, much grander scale pieces, and it did a really good job in that sense of kind of making the Final Destination film for 2025. I was kind of like wondering how it would translate to the small screen, if something was going to be lost, because it did feel like there's a lot of visuals, a lot of scenes here that I think there's some benefit in seeing on the big screen, and I'm not too sure if something's going to be diminished watching on the small screen, I don't know. But I find myself thinking that a few times during Final Destination Bloodlines. So we'll just have to see on that one. But yeah, just what I did see, really enjoyed it. Like I said, just more grand scale. Really like the visuals. Really like the characters. This is the goriest of the franchise as well. So that kind of like bumps it up for me as well, being kind of like gnarly gore handle I am. So yeah, just really like the deaths here. Thought it put a really nice spin on the franchise, breaking away from it just being a group of friends or a random group of people and kind of being like passed down through the family, which I thought was which was a really neat which was just a really neat twist, I think, on this. And yeah, so like I said, we'll just have to see how this one kind of ages over time. But right now, yeah, this is that the reasons I've given are the reasons why it's coming in at number one. So yeah, that pretty much wraps things up. Thank you again for watching this video. Like I said, if you want to hear more, then ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments about what your ranking is and what your picks are. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, that's one of the most intriguing things about this franchise, and everyone has a different opinion. So yeah, let me know in the comments about what your rankings are, and let me know also about if there's any other franchises that you want me to check out or do a ranking of, and I will certainly look into that for you. So thank you for watching this video again, like I said, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, bye.